Alright, so it's been a while since I've made one of these. It's been relatively slow. Even on the busy nights, even on New Year's, that kind of stuff. I mean, little stuff here and there, but for the most part, there's been nothing really to report. Uh, until last night. Got a call to go pick up a dude at a nightclub here in town, right on the little tiny strip, because everything in Daytona sucks. A little tiny strip where everything happens. So I go and pick up the dude. I pull up in front, and he comes and he jumps in the car. Little skinny guy. Couldn't tell really what ethnicity he might have been. Hispanic, maybe Arab, but no accent. Probably like American, just, like mocha colored, I guess. Curlyish hair, slightly long, like get a haircut, you hippie. Which, I shouldn't really be one to speak, because whatever. But, early 20s. Gets in the car and, like, just started talking. Normal conversation. He seems slightly nervous, but it was sort of like the nervousness of just someone not comfortable talking to someone older. And let's face it, I'm older. I'm young at heart. So, he asked me to take him to the Hess station on International Speedway Boulevard and Nova Road, which for most of you who have never been to Daytona, that doesn't exist. And I told him that, but there's a gas station there. So we're driving along, and we're talking about strip clubs and working in a strip club and how he respects strippers too much to give them money, which, that's a new one. So we pull in, and it's a BP, so I'll have to give him a little bit of credit. At least they're both green. Whatever. So he goes, I got to go inside and get money out of the ATM, but I think they might be locked up. I got to go to the window. That's like 9:23. I'm like, Saturday night, 9:23. I don't think they're locked up, but, whatever. They could be. This is one of the major intersections in Daytona, though, so who knows. So, just force a habit now. I pull up so that I can see down the side of the building where he's going to be standing at the window, because this is that's the building. The window's like here. I pulled up here so I could see. So, rolled the windows down, turned off the car, but I left the meter running. I looked at it, and I was like, okay, if he comes back in and throws me cash, then we'll just call it that, whatever it was when he got out of the car. But if he's getting back in, he has to pay for my wait time, because that's how it works if you're in a cab. So, he gets out, and he goes to the window, and he stands in the window for a second. And just as I'm looking through, I can see there's people inside the place. And so the door opens. Just as the door opened, he goes to, like, run towards the door. So I'm thinking he's like, I'm going to turn this radio off. Screw that. So I'm thinking, like, he wants to get inside before the door is closed, because I guess he thinks they're locked or something. I have no idea. Slams right into the door. Like, straight out of a comic movie. It was hilarious. So I started laughing. But then he bounces off and takes off running. Street. I'm like, oh shit, he's running on me. So I start the car up real fast, slam it into gear. It's an automatic. Slam it into drive. I cut the wheel. I chase him right through the gas station parking lot. Grab the radio, and I'm like, this dude's running on me. We go around the corner of the building, and I shoot out onto this little side street that heads down towards the hood. And if you're from this area, I'm talking about Jean Street, so I'm heading towards the hood, towards the old police station. And go out onto the street, and he immediately turns around this fence that's right behind the gas station, and there's like this burned out, boarded up shack there, and there's like a big grass field behind it. It's like, projects field kind of stuff. Untended, land. Well, I'm in a Dodge Intrepid. That's the car I'm in right now. Fuck it, man. I chase him right onto the grass. Just as I turn onto the grass, another driver, I don't know who it is. I think I know who it is now, but I think it's a girl who actually said it, goes, run his ass over. Well, I'm in adrenaline mode. I'm like, okay. So I just gun it, and like I'm going right for him with the car, And at like the last second, I'm like, what am I doing? You know, so I try to turn the wheel away from him, and I'm on wet grass. Car just slides forward, doesn't even turn at all. He cuts right in front of the car, sees me at the last second, and it cuts back the other way. I missed him by that much with the hood of this car. And I'm standing on the brakes, and I'm just sliding. I almost took out a fence. But, like, where he went into was a dead end anyway. He turned back towards the gas station. There's a big old chain link fence there and all that kind of stuff, and he's not climbing over that thing. Not easily, you know. So, I don't remember taking my seatbelt off. But I took the seatbelt off, slapped the thing in park, opened up the door, car's running. I take off, because he ran back the other direction, you know. So I jump out, and I'm chasing him. I'm not a small guy, all right? I'm a big dude, all right? I must have at least outweighed this guy by 100 pounds, if not more, all right? He's like 5'6", 5'7", maybe like 130, you know? I weigh double what he weighs. So, I should never have caught him. 50 yards. I caught him in 50 yards. I've got arthritis in both knees. So bad that, like, there are times when I'm like, just cut him off, put me in a wheelchair, it'd be better, all right? I caught him in 50 yards. I'm trucking, like, and I'm laughing the entire time because I'm like, I shouldn't catch this dude. There's no way I should catch this guy. But I caught up right to him. As soon as I get to him, like right as I'm about to get to him and take him to the ground, he turns around and sees me, and I just tackle him, boom, hard to the ground. And like he throws this like wild punch at me, totally misses me. And so I sort of like, I'm like, I got to send a message to this guy. You don't do this, you know? So I think I said something along the lines of, you don't fucking run from me or something like that. And I popped him one time right in the face. I haven't punched anybody in like 8 years since I bounced at the last strip club I worked at. So I'm like, out of practice, you know? I figure I'm like, well, you know, that my fighting days are behind me. Well, I guess not. I swear, I only tried to punch him just to be like, don't fucking run from somebody, you know? I have no idea how much power I put behind the punch because my adrenaline was pumping. It didn't feel like I did anything, but I knocked him out cold. One hit. Just out. And he started snoring immediately. I mean, like, it was... I couldn't believe it. I'm like jacked up ready to hit him again because I'm like, this is fake, man. He's playing possum. But he was out. Couldn't believe it. So I looked at him, and I'm like, okay, and I grabbed him by his wrists, and I pinned his wrists to the ground, and I'm like sort of hunched over top of him, holding his wrists, and somebody comes up, and like, I'm in like a pitch black, there's no lights anywhere, the place is abandoned, essentially, so some dude rolls up, and he's like, hey man, I'm calling the police, you can't hit a girl like that, and I'm like, it's not a girl, man, it's a customer, and he ran from me. He's like, oh, I'm like, dude, please call the police, and stay here. Just don't move. Please just stay where you are. So he's like, okay. So I'm standing there. I'm holding him down. And they're like, is he still alive? And I'm like, yeah, he's breathing really hard, so he's still alive. So they hear sirens in the background. They're like, all right, cops are on their way. And they take off. I'm like, well, hey, what if he wakes up? You know, what if he wakes up and, like, now doesn't have a glass jaw? I have no idea. So as soon as they leave, these thugs roll up, and I mean, like, we're talking, like, thugs. I used to do car stereo for the longest time. These were my customers, you know? Big, nice chrome wheels, stereo bumping, you know? Thugs. Not legal people, for the most part, all right? Most likely dope boys. But, guy rolls up, and the driver goes, man, you hit that dude like Ray Lewis. I loved it. It was great. I started laughing my ass off. And the guy's like, hey, man, let me go get your car for you. And I'm like, oh, shit, man, it ain't my car. It's my boss's car. And I got all my stuff in here. My computer's in here, my iPad, my iPhone. All my money is right in the center console. The car's running, though. I'm like, yeah, sure. And he just hops out, goes over, gets the car, brings it over. I'm like, all right, you know, it's cool. You can trust people, you know. So that was cool, and I'm like, hey, can you guys just hang out here, you know, just stay in the car, whatever, just hang out in case he wakes up. They're like, yeah, cool, no problem. Right around this time, like, we'll use the phrase woke up, because he, like, started babbling in, like, not language. Like, I know foreign languages, and I didn't recognize anything he said. So I told him flat out, I go, dude, that ain't English, just go to sleep. And so I think he went back to sleep. And then about a minute later, I mean, it's been like 4 minutes, no cops. The sirens, I guess, weren't for me. A minute later or so, he wakes up and clear as day, he goes, "It's cool." And I'm like, "No, man, it ain't cool. You're going to jail, dumbass. Just stay the fuck there. Don't move." You know? And then finally the cops show up. And the guys are like, "Dude, we can't be here." I'm like, "Go, go, go, man. I appreciate you hanging out." So they take off. Female cop gets out. I stand up, step back real fast. She's like, "What happened?" I go, "He tried to run on me." She goes, "He tried to rob you?" I go, "Well, technically it's the same thing." She goes, "Very different things. What did he do?" I'm like, "He tried to run on me. He didn't pay his fare, so both." So I told him, I chased him down, I caught him, I hit him one time, and knocked him out cold, held him down till you guys showed up. So she starts handcuffing him, and he wakes up around that time, and basically confirms the entire story. Yeah, I called the cab, I didn't have any money, So I go over and I grab the radio, and I'm like, "All right, everyone to know, I'm okay. I'm a little scraped up. I got a nice, big, huge scrape. I can't say scratch and scrape at the same time on my leg, but that's about it. It has like some sort of cut over here. I don't even know what that came from. Who knows? So I radio, like, I got him, and he's going to jail. But my owner, who was in the office at the time, comes over the radio and goes, "You, sir, are my hero." I'm like, awesome. So, about this time, 3 other cops show up. Female cops still dealing with the dude. 3 guy cops all come up to me, and they all shake my hand. One guy's like, "Thank you for justifying me coming into work today. That was awesome." I was like, "Cool, hey, do what I can, So we are having a blast just talking about that. But word got out that they call me, this guy said I hit him like Ray Lewis. Now everyone's calling me Ray Lewis. I'm calling myself Ray Lewis over the phone. I'm over the radio. I'm like, "All right, Ray Lewis, clear over here on the beach side, whatever." So, yeah, now I'm like jacked up and want someone else to run on me. Like, hell yeah. So, because normally people were like, "What happens if someone runs on you?" And I'm like, "Well, I got to call the police and try to catch if I can." Now I can be like, "Yeah, you trying to run on me? I'm going to knock you the fuck out." It's been a long time since any of our cab drivers have ever caught anybody trying to run on them. Most times, cab drivers are big fat guys who can't chase people down, but apparently some big fat guys can chase people down. I don't know who, just random fat guys apparently can chase people down. But, yeah. So, still got it, apparently. So he's going to jail. They're going to charge him with either theft or defrauding a merchant. I have no idea. They'll charge him with something. Press charges, and I'll get my $16. Dumbass got his ass knocked out. Sent to jail for $16. Idiot. So, anyway, fun. Nice long conversation. Hopefully something else will happen. Maybe not involving somebody being brought to unconsciousness by physical violence, because it's bad. Kids, no physical violence. Don't let anybody steal from you either. All right. Have a good night.